Hi, good to be here with you. It's our sixth class. We're going to do a little bit of a different practice today. It's still a mindfulness practice, but you'll see it's got a different flavor to it. So go ahead and allow yourself to get comfortable. Then go ahead and close your eyes or have a low gaze if that feels good for you. And allow those deep breaths if that's part of your practice. Beginning to bring our attention inward, settling into our bodies, right? So allow yourself to just notice the sensation of gravity on your body. Feeling how it's kind of a weightedness or a pulling to the ground. And as you're noticing that, you can also notice that your chair is holding you up. So there's those sensation of those contact points with your body. And so you're feeling that support. And you can just let yourself sink into that support, giving yourself permission to just sort of rest into it. So now I invite you to think of something that's happening in your life that's actually positive. So it could be anything really. It could be a relationship. It could be some achievement that you just did. It could be somewhere that you're going to go, a trip you're going to take, or a trip that you just took. Just something positive, pleasant that's happening in your life right now or just happened. And, see if you can bring to mind an image that goes with that. Maybe you're noticing yourself do this thing, receive an award, or hug your friend, or run with your new puppy, whatever it is. And also, if it works, you might even bring to mind a word that goes with that. So, like the puppy's name or the friend's name or the guitar, it's like your, electric guitar or whatever word goes with this pleasant experience. So what we're doing is we're bringing an image and a word to mind just to do our best to sort of get this image as strong as possible in our mind. So as you notice this image, can you check in with your body and notice what's happening in your body? Are there any sensations? Like, do you feel the joy when you're, playing with your new animal or your animal in general? Or do you feel the connection as you have the image of being with your friend? Do you feel that pride of, that you just achieved something, or that sensation of wonder because you're going to a new place, a trip? What do you feel in your body as you bring to mind this positive image? And now I also want to say that if something's not coming up in your body, if you're not feeling sort of the positive effects from this image, don't worry about that. It's really an okay thing. You can stay with the sensation of gravity if that works, or the sensation of the contact points while you have this image in your mind of this positive thing. So again, bringing to mind this image, and then just noticing what's happening in the body. And the image could fade, right? And your mind could wander. But that's okay. If it does and you found yourself wandering, just bring back that image. Try to get it in your mind's eye clear. Let it sort of play like a movie. And then go back to noticing what's happening in the body. Because we're in charge of our attention, right? We can move our attention from the wandering back to the image, back to the sensations in the body. So let's just work with that for a minute or so. It can be a little difficult, this practice, because you're doing a lot with your attention, right? You're bringing to mind an image, you're letting that image play, and then you're checking in with your body. So it's a little more active than our usual practices. Okay, so one last time. Notice that image. It might even make you smile as you feel into it. You can do that. You can allow a smile. And so now go ahead and just let that image fade away and bring your attention back to the sensation of your body sitting. Noticing the sounds in your room, the sound of my voice. We're going to start to come back. You can begin to wiggle your toes or rotate your ankles or your shoulders, opening your eyes, looking around. And when you feel ready, gently coming back to the screen. Okay. Hey. So take that moment, to actually just check out how you feel after that, what that was like. It could be completely confusing. Maybe you had a major experience. Maybe it was like, I don't even get it, right? So it's all okay. Remember, it's not about what really happens. It's about what you notice, because we're just practicing. We're working with our attention. So, there's this thing that us humans do. And it's basically that we tend to focus on what goes wrong, on the scary stuff, the bad stuff. You might even notice that within yourself, like you kind of want to hear the gossip, or you slow down for the accidents, or you're rather see the bad news on TV, right? Or read the disaster stories or whatever, right? So we kind of have this way of kind of searching out bad stuff, scary stuff. But actually, it has to do with our evolution. So I'm going to share my screen here and explain that to you. It's not just that we're negative people. Okay, but first I want to ask you a question. So of these needs, which do you think that nature chose as the most important for our survival as a species? So we have a lot of needs as a species, and especially to survive, right? We need shelter, we need protection from danger, we need food and water, we need mates, we need community, all these things for our species to survive. But which one do you think that nature felt was the most important of all these? Okay, so it turns out that it's protection from danger, and I'll explain that to you. It has to do with avoiding sticks versus chasing carrots. So if you think of the sticks as like the predators, that the things that could get us, that could knock us down, the sicknesses, the dangerous threats, right? And then you think of the carrots sort of as the rewards, the food and water, the mates, the shelter, the community. What nature understood was that if you didn't get a carrot today, like, food, even food and water, most likely if you lived through it today, you could try again tomorrow. You had tomorrow. But it knew that if you didn't avoid a stick, if you got knocked down by a predator, if you got wiped out by a predator, there was no tomorrow. So in that understanding, it was like, well, it's more important to pay attention to the scary stuff, right? To the predators, to the scary things, so we can avoid them, and then tomorrow go and get all the things we need to live, right? So what nature put in us, what we evolved to have, is actually a negativity bias. So basically, we are wired. This is hardwired to search out and focus on bad, scary, dangerous, threatening stuff. That's just the way we are. And that survival brain, that amygdala I talk about, it uses 2/3 of its neurons to look for this bad news, for this threat. It just wants to find it, right? So that you can avoid it. And in terms of our physiology, negative experiences, something we get, something bad happens to us, it soaks in faster into our implicit memory. It takes only 3 to 5 seconds for a negative experience to hit our understanding, our implicit memory, versus a positive experience that takes 12 to 20 seconds. And then we keep those negative experiences in our implicit memories longer than the positive ones. They stay there forever. You burn your hand on a stove, you're going to remember that. It's going to go through fast, and you're going to remember it forever to not touch that stove, right? So, and our implicit memories is actually what gives us our understanding about the world. Like, is it safe? Is it not? So these negative experiences that the amygdala, the survival brain, is constantly searching for, when we find them, we soak them in. So we get a sense of like, okay. And if we get a lot of them, we get a sense of, okay, this world is kind of a scary world, right? Well, here's the problem that we're having, is that our amygdala is like an old school alarm, and it rings for these, so it rang back for the old school threats, which were truly life-threatening, like the snakes and the predators and all those things, that they needed to survive. Our threats today, there are some life-threatening ones, but for the most part, they're not life-threatening, right? But our amygdala, again, is an old school alarm, and it just rings as if they are life threatening. So here we are, we got a bad grade on a math test, or our boss is angry, or we have some past due bills, and it feels in our body like it's life threatening. Our body is reacting as if it's like life threatening. The same, the heart pounds and the worry starts and you can't sleep. That's because the amygdala hasn't doesn't know that many of our modern uh, threats or challenges are not life threatening. So what can we do about that? We're built in with this negativity bias that's constantly searching for threat. What we can do is use mindfulness, our attention, right? That superpower, to bring our attention more to the pleasant, positive things versus, because the survival brain is bringing our attention to the scary, bad stuff. So we can use and say, I'm going to bring my attention to some of the pleasant, positive things. And that's what we did in our practice. We brought to mind an image of something positive in our life. And by actually going into the sensations of our body, if it felt good, if it felt happy or joyful or connecting, or, we felt proud of ourselves, by focusing on our attention on that sensations in our body, we were letting it soak into our implicit memory, right? The good part. And that's kind of what we have to do. We can use this mindfulness to balance out that negativity bias by being mindful of when good things happen, right? When good things happen, what goes well, what we're grateful for, the people we love. And, you can make a list even during the day, because again, it's going to be hard to bring our attention to that, because our nature says, I don't really care about the good things that are going on. I care about the threat. So it's great. You have friends and parents and good meals and all that kind of stuff, but I don't care. I'm just worried about that math test tomorrow, right? But we can say, no, I'm bringing my attention to the good things. So we be mindful of the pleasant, positive, good things in our life. And then we make a practice like we did of holding on to the sensations that come from those good things. Again, what that does is soak it into our implicit memory. And we have to do it for a little bit longer, right? Because it takes a little bit of an effort. But we do that so that it makes an impact. And ultimately, what happens is it kind of changes your relationship to struggle. It gives you resilience in tough times, because then you're creating this pathway of noticing the good and bringing it in. Then when hard things happen, you're able to kind of write it out, because you go, I know about these good things too, right? And so you're using your attention to change your outlook so that you're happier and stronger in the hard times. So remember, right? We want to be able to soak in the good, right? Let yourself notice it during the day, the hugs, the nature, the good food, the fluffy kitty puppies, the parents, the friends, right? Let that soak in so that you can constantly help balance that negativity bias that that nature gave us, that we are grateful for because it helped us survive this long. But we also want to live happy too. We don't want to just survive. Yeah. So we use mindfulness to do that. Okay. So looking at my clock, I think we're at time, and I appreciate you. And I'm going to escape out of here, stop sharing. And I hope this week you can notice some really good things and let them soak in. Okay. Thank you. See you next time.